Now let's design this reusable button. Let's create component. Let's go to client project and let's generate component and GCC component. Inside component, let's create button component. Skip test. Press enter. Okay, we have button component here. Let's design our button. First of all, let's go to login component HTML and copy this button and let's go to button component HTML and here let's paste it. Let's go to component and here let's is disabled of type input boolean and let's remove this form and let's say is disabled here. Let's design loading indicator. Here let's add div and let's say class w4 s4 height 4 and border 2 border with 2 mr2 and border blue 500 and border t transparent and rounded full animate spin. Okay, let's save it and let's go to login component. Let's cut it and remove this one and add here app button. Self close it. Let's save this component also and let's pass here is disabled. Paste it. Let's make it border. Save it. Go to browser. Now you can see here loading. Let's make it border white and save it. Go to browser. Now we can see white border animation. Here let's go to component and let's say is loading input boolean. Let's go to button component HTML. Only render this loading if is loading. If is loading, then only display this one. And let's add class here flex. Justify center and let's add item center. Save it. Let's go to button component TS and let's make it true for now. We can see a beautiful loading indicator. So let's remove this default value. Go to login component TS. Let's close all. Control KW and go to auth service. And here let's add is loading equal to signal. Let's keep default value false and let's go to login component TS. Let's remove this private and here inside login function let's say this dot auth service dot is loading and set for true and here let's this dot auth service dot is loading false and this make auth service dot is loading dot set false and after completion and add here this dot auth service dot is set false. Okay, let's go to login component HTML and here let's pass is loading. Let's pass auth service dot is loading button component HTML. Let's make it clickable. Let's go to button component TS, and here let's define output. Let's say action equal to output. Let's make it void return type, and let's go to button component HTML and disable if is loading true, and let's bind click event here. Click, let's copy it, go to component, and let's define this function here, this dot action dot emit. Okay, let's save it. Go to login component HTML, and here let's bind action, bind with login function. Okay, let's go to login component HTML, and let's add here is loading. Let's save it and go to browser and take a look. Let's click login. Beautiful, we have disable button with loading. Let's change text. Let's go to button component HTML, and let's add here if is loading. Then let's render here, otherwise let's say login. Let's add a span tag, and let's add here @ save it, go to browser and take a look. Now we can see processing button. Okay, beautiful. Now let's make it login text dynamic. So let's go to button component TS, and here let's say text input of type string, and go to button component HTML and render here dynamic text. Okay, this type of signal. Let's go to button component TS. Let's make it required dot required. Let's go to login component HTML. Now we can see here error. So we need to specify here text login. So let's pass here text login. Let's pass string, save it. Let's go to browser and take a look. Let's login. Now beautiful, we can see login. Let's login, we can see processing, and let's go to register component HTML and render dynamic button. Let's go to bottom, and here you can see. Let's render app button, self close it. Here let's pass disabled. Let's copy this from here and pass here, and text, let's pass text here, register, and bind action register function. Let's pass property is loading. Let's say auth service dot is loading, and let's go to register component TS, add here this dot auth service dot is loading dot set true. Let's copy it and let's add here and make it false, and add here false, finally add here false, save it. Now let's go to browser and take a look. We can see register here. Now we can see register button. Let's move this first one. Let's go to register component HTML and remove this button, save it. Now we can see beautiful register button. Let's go to login and inspect. Let's go to network tab and let's log in. Let's press login. We can see here we are requesting login in 0.2 times. So how to handle it? Let's go to button component HTML, and instead of type submit, let's make it button. Save it. Go to browser. Let's test again. Press login. Now we can see single request when click button.